Sealed for 1700 years beneath the Belizean jungle, a lost tomb held a dynasty's founding king and artifacts that had no business inside a Maya burial. Now, ancient DNA from his bones threatens to expose an ancestry no one expected. At the heart of the burial chamber lay a mosaic death mask, its surface shimmering with dozens of jadeite fragments, each piece carefully fitted to form the face of a king. The mask's jade was traced to the Motagua Valley in Guatemala, a source prized by Maya rulers for its hardness and luminous green hue. Conservation teams noted the extraordinary preservation of the mask, with one conservator remarking that stabilizing the delicate jade and shell in the humid tomb was like holding history's breath in your hands. Around the mask, 11 painted ceramic vessels formed a silent circle. Their scenes are vivid. The merchant god Ek-Chua strides across one, cacao pods at his feet, while another vessel captures the rain god Chak, summoning storms. Several vessels depict bound captives, their postures frozen in ritual defeat, a reminder of power claimed and displayed. The artistry and iconography speak to royal authority and far-reaching connections. Each vessel and jade fragment a symbol of status, belief and ambition. Beyond the jade mask and painted vessels, the burial chamber yielded objects that widen the scope of the king's world. Resting near the skeleton, a cache of spondylus shells glimmered with an orange-pink sheen, unmistakably sourced from the Pacific coast, over 1,000 kilometers from Caracol. Their journey across rivers and forests speaks to a web of trade that spanned mountains and seas, linking the Maya lowlands to distant shores. Among the grave goods, slender bone tubes, carved and stained with red pigment, hint at ritual sound or incense, echoing traditions found at Copan and other royal courts. 2 ceramic lids, each topped with the head of a coatimundi, a nocturnal animal tied to the underworld, guarded smaller caches. These lids, crafted from local limestone but modelled on forms seen at Luban and beyond, suggest shared symbols and beliefs stretching across Maya cities. Each artifact, from Pacific shell to underworld animal, is a clue to a world in constant motion, where power, belief and prestige were carried not just in stone, but along the roots of trade and ritual. Lab results delivered a clear window into the past. 2 charcoal samples, drawn from the tomb's primary fill, were sent to the University of Arizona's Accelerator Mass Spectrometry Lab. The numbers came back: 815 plus or minus 30 and 822 plus or minus 32 radiocarbon years before present, calibrated to a range of 330 to 350 CE with over 95% confidence. This places the burial precisely within the early Classic period, a match for the era of Caracol's founding king. Ceramic specialist Dr. Maria Gonzalez reviewed the 11 painted vessels, confirming their forms and painted motifs belong to the Caracol Classic phase, around 280 to 380 CE. The vessel forms are unequivocal for this horizon, she wrote, anchoring the tomb's date to the reign of Takab Chak. Each step of the analysis narrows the story to a single generation, the dynasty's beginning. This sets the stage for the next piece of the puzzle, the search for the king's name. The tomb's location at the northernmost edge of Caracol's palace platform anchors its founder status. In Maya city planning, such a position was reserved for the dynasty's originator, a spatial claim as bold as any inscription. Excavation records and trench maps show the burial chamber was sealed beneath a second stone floor, then encased by later monumental construction. This deliberate entombment, predating the Acropolis's massive defensive walls, signals that the burial came first, shaping all that followed. The founder's tomb became the axis for royal memory and power. Its placement echoed dynastic planning seen at other ancient Maya capitals. The evidence draws a boundary. This was not just any elite grave, but the blueprint for a royal lineage. A layer of ash and shattered bone, pressed tight above the royal burial, breaks the script of Maya funerary tradition. Here, the evidence points to a rite foreign to the lowlands, cremation, a practice reserved for the highest ranks at Teotihuacan, the great metropolis 1,000 miles away. Mixed into the charred remains, archaeologists uncovered fragments of green obsidian, sourced by geochemical analysis to the volcanic slopes near Teotihuacan, not the Guatemalan highlands. Obsidian from this region was prized, traveling across mountains and rivers to reach Maya hands. Nearby, the glint of a polished mirror, its surface black and flawless, recalls the ritual eye masks of central Mexican elites. Mirrors like these, cut from iron pyrite, signaled status and power in Teotihuacan's royal courts. The presence of these objects, sealed decades before the 378 CE Entrada, throws the old story into question. How could such unmistakably central Mexican customs and materials appear in a Maya royal tomb so early? Arlen Chase cautioned against seeing Teotihuacan as a conquering force, and instead urged a view of shifting alliances where Caracol's founders moved in a world shaped by distant powers, not ruled by them. The 1,000-mile gap between these cities now feels smaller, the stakes higher, as the question of the founders' true origins presses closer. Only biological evidence can break the deadlock. Inside a climate-controlled lab, technicians isolate a fragment of petrous bone from the king's skull, the hardest part of the human body, a vault for DNA even after 17 centuries in the Belizean earth. Clean suits, filtered air, and ultraviolet sterilization guard against a single stray cell. Every step is documented, every instrument swabbed. The protocol is rigorous, a silica-based extraction, double-indexed sequencing libraries, all controls run in parallel. Only when the ancient DNA damage patterns, cytosine deamination at the fragment ends, are confirmed does the data move forward. In a nearby lab, a tooth is sampled for strontium and oxygen isotopes, its enamel holding the chemical imprint of the king's childhood landscape. Two scenarios now stand before the scientific team. If the genome clusters with lowland Maya, the Teotihuacan artifacts become evidence of alliance, not conquest. But if the king's DNA matches highland Mexican profiles, the founder's story may be one of foreign ancestry, a dynasty seeded from distant power. Either answer will redraw the map of ancient Mesoamerica. Principal investigator Dr. Alvarez cautions, we are not looking for a conqueror or a puppet. We are looking for a human life lived at the crossroads of worlds. The samples remain under Belizean stewardship, and no results will be released until peer review is complete. The scientific community waits, breath held, for the final word from molecules older than memory. The question, who was Caracol's first king, now rests in strands of ancient DNA. This tomb, ranked among the top 10 finds of 2025, reminds us every bone, bead, and DNA strand can rewrite power's origin story. The jungle still keeps its secrets. Which one breaks next?